This day has sort of blown me away. I have not been back here. I think I was here 13 years ago, and even before that, I did get a full tour because I was always rushed. But I took a full tour this morning. I can't believe this place. You know, I did have a graphic that said kind of an average day or a miserable day, but I assumed it was going to be a great day, and it was. I got to be the spirit that's at Maumee Valley that I saw today. I thought I had it good. It was amazing. I'm going to tell you, what you've done at this school is truly remarkable. I wish I could attend to it. Gary, you and your team deserve great credit. You know, I was unbelievably just moved today. I talked to the students. They're just as interesting as when we were there, Becky. It was a great place. Now, I'll tell you, I did talk to the students, and I asked them, what is the magic of this place? And there is a magic here. You can hear it, you feel it in the hallways. There's just something special. And when I talked to them, they said the same thing that I was saying. The magic is the people. And I'll tell you, you look at that picture, and it's such a fantastic picture. But it is the people. It's the people that, you know, they care for you. And I'll tell you something. When I made these graphics with my graphics people at MVCDS, they kept saying to me, it's an unbelievable story. I don't have any of the relationships that you're talking about with my teachers. So I'm going to begin with the first one, Chuck Lundman. I'm going to tell you, when I think of Maumee Valley, I think of Chuck. Honestly, I spent more time outside of the classroom with Chuck than inside the classroom. We did the coffee club, the book club, we did dinner club, we talked sports. During my free time, we just go and just, you know, talk about anything that was going on, current events. That was a really remarkable thing to have an adult who was that special, looked after you, treated you with the same kind of respect that he would other adults, and included you and respected you. In addition to that, he was a great teacher. I'll tell you, the one thing Chuck left with me was that when you write and you do your analysis, include your personal emotions. Say it moved you. Say it was funny, it was hilarious, it was stupid. That not only stayed with me all through college, but I tell my own anchors how to do it. Thanks to you, Chuck. I'm going to tell you something. You too is something that we spent more time outside the classroom inside. But there's one story I want to tell you that Jenny did for me that I will never forget, and congratulations on your honor. It was at the end of my senior year, and I had studied Hamlet. And Jenny said at the end of the class, we were doing our final report, I'm going to give you an option. You can either take the test, or you can do something else, come to me and make a proposal. And I hated tests. I didn't do well in tests. I could talk. I knew that. And so I went to her and I said, Jenny, I want to do a soliloquy, memorize a performance of the class. And she said, great, don't take the test to do that. It would be good for you. So I went and I memorized that great soliloquy, oh, that this tooth for selling flesh would melt and thought something would do, or that the everlasting had not fixed his head and his self. Oh, God, this is an unreal garden. It goes on and on. I remember it. I'm an ambassador. I'm not going to give you that credit. But I did become an English major. I became a Shakespeare major. And I will tell you, if I didn't take the time to really understand Hamlet the way I understood it in that class, I don't think I would have been. I understood Hamlet. I understand the importance of Shakespeare. By the way, to this day, I think every executive should read Shakespeare because you learn relationships. I don't care what business you are in. It has helped me more than anything else in life. And thank you, Jenny, for letting me do that soliloquy and not getting a B-, but it ruined me, and I probably there can be no talk from Maumee Valley without talking about Madonna. Yay! I'm going to tell you, it's been my years. Madonna was the real deal. She was authentic as anybody was. You know, my French is okay, which you're about to find out. My French is okay, but she inspired me. And I'll tell you what, when I'm known in where I work, I know talent. And you know why I know talent? I know authentic people. There's nobody more authentic than Madonna. She took us, a group of us, to Abbey Mill. And I'll tell you what, I think going with Madame was more interesting than going with Ernest Hemingway. I mean, the passion that she had for the French, for the culture, for the language, for the people, for the country was unparalleled. I'll always remember Madame. She has stayed with me ever since, and she continues that murderer's row. Jerry Milman, who ever heard a student liking a headmaster, which I never thought kid of school. But you know, Jerry, when I was school council president, I mean, he was so involved with us. We wanted to go. Debbie and I go to him and say, hey, let's take a day, cancel classes, and work on lower school. He goes, not only let's do it, he gets involved, he makes sure everybody participates, he gets alumni involved. He used to invite us over to his house to have, coffee on Saturday mornings. To have that kind of relationship with somebody, that kind of authority figure at that age, I'm going to tell you is as important as anything that goes on in high school. So I got to tell you, this place, you can go on and on. I saw Ron Newton just now. I can't believe he's still here. I'm so sorry to hear about Sam, a big picture, that goes to my graphics people. Coach, I'm so sorry to hear that. And Stan, I just know of you. We had a final year together. I never took a class from you, but you were fantastic. I'm also going to tell you something. I don't have Dorothy Jacqueline up here. We couldn't find a picture. But Dorothy is, and I know her husband and her children are here. I'm going to tell you, Dorothy is as good as it gets. When she arrived, she immediately became Mommy Valley. She immediately took interest in the students. She immediately started hanging out with students more outside of class than inside of class. And she too belongs in that group. And I'm going to tell you something. If I can find this, I was reading the other day Thomas Friedman on Wednesday's New York Times. And he's talking about how technology and the changing world is so powerful and it's going to have such a big impact on future generations that if you're not part of it, you're going to get lost. And then he concludes by saying, parenting, which I would say, Pat and Jack are fantastic, teaching and leadership that inspires individuals to act on their own will be the most valued trait of all. And that's going into the 21st century. Well, that's what Mommy Valley did for us. It's amazing. That's what it did. It built us up. It inspired us. It made us want to learn and do things and find ourselves. I want to mention one other thing about my time here, what inspired me. And that was the plan. Now, you're looking at me, where I used to think if I wasn't at the coffee club at Chapel, and I want to go study, I'd go into that glass hallway. Remember that glass hallway on both sides? I loved that. It was airy. It was open. It created such a great feeling in the school. And that's where I held court, I talked, I chatted, I studied, I read. And that's as important almost as anything that you have here. And what's so fantastic is when I walked around the school today, that airiness, that being able to look outside is just as true with all the new buildings we've built. And that is a credit for the school. But I'm going to tell you, that stays with you in terms of it. Now, if you go to my office, I made sure to get 4 big windows. It is all white. Everybody else is dark and gray. I have the lightest office because I just think that's so important. But that was important. It is a privilege to go to Mommy Valley. And I'm going to tell you, you don't know it, but when you look back 38 years, I'm going to tell you, you realize how important it is in creating you, and the seeds are planted here. And I'm so lucky to have been here, and I think everyone else has is. So, now I'm a 56-year-old man. I've got a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful children, a sophomore and junior in high school. I dread that they're going to be leaving the home soon. I am, Dean, a successful cable news channel president. I turned around a network that was a distant third about 6 years ago. We not only beat CNN, but we're now challenging Fox. And I'm in a place in my life that I'm very happy. So I want to thank you for this award. But I also want to tell you the journey. The journey. From MVCDS to MSNBC. And I'll tell you, you don't often take time to reflect on what something means, because we just don't do that. But getting this award and coming here to speak, I've thought about it. What is it about Mommy Valley? What did it do for me? So I went to my yearbook, and I hadn't looked at it in a long time. And the first thing I did was I looked up the pictures of Becky and Debbie and Kitsy and Beth and Jenny and Mandy. graduated by then, so I didn't see you. Not that I would have looked for you, but I looked at it. Then I went to my page, and I hadn't been there a long time. And it's you know, it's often embarrassing what you put down there. And it's a little pompous. But I put a quote of French by Voltaire. And that, it reads, "Il faut cultiver son jardin." Now that's fairly pompous. And it means basically, you have to cultivate your own garden. And you know what? That's pretty cool. That my final thought when I left this school was to put that in my youth. I'm not even sure I fully understood what that was going to mean in my life. I understood that was the right thing. But in the end, that's what Maumee Valley instilled in me. You've got to be yourself. So the three things I talked about Maumee Valley that when I was thinking of the last couple of weeks, what I was going to say, it's about being yourself. It's about the notion of challenging convention. And it's the notion of grabbing opportunity where you can. And that's what Jenny did. She was not conventional. She said, you know, if you don't feel comfortable doing a test, do something else. And then I grabbed the opportunity. So I'm going to talk about 4 moments of my life where I think that, you know, there are many, many moments where I use that. But I'm going to find 4 that got me to where I am. So I told the kids today this story. I wanted, you know, when I moved from California, New York to Perrysburg, Ohio, I was determined then to live in New York City. I said, that's where I'm going to live. And also, for some reason, because my father and I watched the Today Show every morning when I got up for breakfast, and I'm going to work for the Today Show. So after I graduated from Vassar, an English major, I went down to Atlanta and got an entry-level job making minimum wage. But I really didn't want to be in CNN, I didn't want to be in Atlanta. And I wanted to go to the Today Show. So I was on the road with a reporter, and I met a guy from the Today Show, and I said, I want to work there, what do I need to do? And he said, give me your resume. I said, I'm not going to do that, I would get lost. I said, give me the number of your boss, Steve. So I got the number, and I called out of the blue. And I couldn't get through, And finally, I charmed the assistant, and I got through one day. And I said, my name's Phil Griffin. All I want to do is work for the Today Show. It's my dream job. He said, send in your resume. I said, no. He said, no, we have no jobs. And he's about to hang up. I said, no, stop. I want to critique the show. And this is before email. I said, I will watch it every day for 2 weeks. I'll write it all out and I'll send it to you. And he said, he stopped and he said, okay, I tell you what, don't send it to me. I forget the show by quarter after every day. Next Wednesday, call me up and give me your critique. And so next Wednesday, I call him up and I critique the good, the bad, and the ugly. I told him what worked, you know, that Willard was a clown, that, you know, Jane was okay, Brian was brilliant. And he didn't say anything. He said, I'll talk to you next Wednesday. And I did the following Wednesday. And he didn't say anything. I've been told. He said, call me next time. I did it 5 times. On the 5th time, he never said anything. He said, you got the job. I'll call you when we have it. And I go back to all that, you know, break with convention. Send a resume. You will never get a job. Trust me, if you send a resume. So I go for convention. I seek the opportunity on the phone. Another moment that I had, I'll tell you, was when NBC News was looking for people to go to Saudi Arabia during the build-up to the Gulf War. And I was on the fast track of the Today Show. I was in a good position. But I go, you know what? I want to try something else. I want to see the world. So I raised my hand when they were looking for volunteers to go there. And when I was over there, I changed over to nightly news because I loved it. I became Tom Brokaw's producer. I was on the fast track of Today. I think I would have become a big shot earlier at the Today Show. But I went over there, and I loved it. I loved everything about it, and I saw the world. And I just grabbed that opportunity, and I went to Egypt and Moscow and the Panama Revolution and all through the Middle East. And I'll tell you what, it was mentioned earlier, I went to Somalia, which taught me more about life than anything I've ever seen. There was total disorder. There was no water, there was no food, people were starving, and those who weren't starving were either running around with AK-47s or sucking on this leaf called chat that was like cocaine. Total chaos. Tom Brokaw has been to every hellhole in the world, and I've never seen anything quite like it. And that led me to also understand that when you turn on the faucet, you want water, you bite into an apple, and you're not going to get a disease, just how lucky we are. But that also came out of taking that risk, which comes back to Maumee Valley saying, and I just wanted to do that. The third one, which is a funny one, I'm in 30 Rock, okay? Now, I know this sounds kind of small, but it is the center of the universe. It is the most greatest place to work on the planet. There's just something magical about 30 Rock. And I was there, I'm working with Tom Brokaw, and I'm traveling all over the world, and I'm having a great time, and I'm well respected, and then NBC News comes calling in. They're looking for volunteers to go to this new startup called MSNBC. And I go, you know what? Everybody around me stays there for 25 years ago. I'm going to get out. After 6 years at Nightly, I jump at this opportunity to leave 30 Rock and go 5 miles away across the river to Secaucus, New Jersey, to work in a warehouse where we were basically a minor league team. Out of the 600 people that worked at NBC News, only 2 of us raised our hand to go over to this, what we thought was a little bit of a minor league situation, but hoped that it was new media and we would grow. I will tell you, those 2 people, out of all the 600, one became president of NBC News and the other became president of MSNBC. So that tells you something about taking risks. But the second part is, it was a disaster for the first 10 years. In 2004, we just couldn't get it together. Roger Ailes went over to Fox News, understood the changing media environment, changing technology. The world was exploding around us. All of a sudden, we got smartphones, you got the web, you can get news and information when you want it. What do you want another 24-hour news channel for? And CNN was already beginning to hurt, and Fox News was exploding. So, they give me MSNBC, first as general manager, at a time when they were looking to turn out the lights. They were talking about making it a comedy channel. So, I had to do something to be smart. Okay? What are the lessons of Maumee Valley? Break with convention and grab the opportunity. So, first of all, NBC News people hated me because I said, you know what? I'm going to take this to a progressive channel team. I'm going to take it to a place because Roger and Fox has reached out to the conservative crowd and felt disillusioned with mainstream media. CNN was struggling in this middle ground when you could get your news and information anytime you wanted it. And we were just dying. So, NBC News, though, takes this very seriously, and they're going, a point of view? So I really didn't tell them at the beginning. And Chris Matthews, you remember the statement, mission accomplished? Mission accomplished was I had 2 people who were against the war. Chris Matthews, who was a student of politics, student of the Middle East, and said, there's no way you're going to democratize the Middle East, especially in a couple of years, much less 2 months or 5 days, whatever that we were having. So we quietly said, take a point of view in prime time. Take it. Keith Olbermann, I know a favorite of yours, also followed, and we finally started to get an audience. Don Imus flew up in the morning, I put Morning Joe in, and we started to get news. And I named it first The Place for Politics. And that was a little bit like Fox News saying, we report, you decide. It was a little like we were the place for progressive politics. But we started as a generic place for politics. And we started to get an audience. We were a distant third, but we started to get a heartbeat. And then I brought in Rachel Maddow. And all of a sudden, we were starting getting written about. We were having an impact. In the 2008 election, we were front and center. We were as strong as anywhere. We added vote. We added lean forward. And that became our mantra. That was the same to our audience and the people inside NBC. We're not like NBC News anymore. We'll stay true to the facts. We'll use the foundation of NBC News, but we're going to give our people a sensibility. And guess what happened? By 2009, the end of 2009, beginning of 2010, we did the unthinkable. We beat CNN. And then, going into the 2012 election, we beat Fox News 2 out of the last 3 months. And now we're on track. We're on track for 2016. That is my goal, to beat Fox all day. It's going to be tough, but we are going to do it. And I say all of this because it goes back to being yourself, being comfortable in what you do, take risks, break with convention. I will tell you, from 2007 to 2010, my good friends, Tom Brokaw, NBC News, hated me. But the chairman didn't, because we were starting to get a business. I will tell you this, not only this notion of challenging convention and seeking opportunity, it did bleed over into my personal life. I will tell you that I did not have a normal marriage. When, I think some of you know this story, but I had been living with my girlfriend for about 7 years. In some ways, we were married by mortgage, we were living together. And then we were looking to have a family. And we were both working on the West Coast temporarily. I was doing the O.J. Simpson trial. She was working with ESPN. And we just thought about having a family, and she was pregnant. And we were happy. We were working hard. We did not get married. We came back and we did not get married. We had a beautiful daughter, Riley. And it created quite a tizzy that we were not married. But guess what? We were happy. People would come up to me and say, you know, oh, you have to be, it's outrageous that you're not married. And I'd say, oh, really, how long have you been married? And they'd say, no, 4 years. I say, your first marriage? No, my fourth. I said, oh, okay, good, that's good. But I decided at some point, because we were happy, and we were about to have another child, that we would just get married. But there was no way I was going to do it the conventional way. There was no way I was going to walk down the aisle or spend a year with Corey and her mother working this out. So I was golfing in Puerto Rico with my father over Christmas. My wife's birthday was January 31st, and I said, you know, Dad, I'm going to have a surprise wedding. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. And I went back to New York, and I went to a restaurant that we liked. And Corey always said she wanted to be married on the beach. And we created a beach atmosphere. It was a lobster restaurant. And we created it, and then I invited her out to dinner with her parents on her birthday. We went. Everybody said surprise, and she thought it was for her birthday. And I said, Corey, will you be my wife? And she said, sure. And then it all opened up. There was a couple there, and justice of the peace. And everybody said, oh, it must have been so emotional. Did she cry? And I said, no. She went, now? But we did. We got married. I'm going to tie this all back together. It's the notion of break with convention, grab opportunity. And I think what I saw today was that in action. I mean, to think, Maumee Valley Country Day School has a dormitory. Here we are in the worst economic period since the Depression, in a city that is hurting. And what does Maumee Valley do? It thrives. It builds. It brings international students in, which is great for the culture. It's great for the opportunity. It's really unbelievable. You challenge convention, and you grab the opportunity. And you've got the highest enrollment ever during this period. Congratulations to you. The lessons are still happening. Thank you for this award. I couldn't be happier. And I look forward to the